Where are you coming from?
De donde vengo, no importa donde venga.
Okay, so you want to make this complicated? We can make this complicated.
There's a citywide curfew. Okay. If you're not giving me a reason to be out here,
you're
in violation. So I need your
okay,
license.
I plead the
I'll cite you, and you'll be on your way.
I plead the Fifth Amendment.
You can plead the Fifth all you want.
Okay.
Just we need your license.
Okay. I don't give you consent. I don't give you consent to go in my car.
Sure.
I'm not giving you consent to go in my car.
Okay, I don't need consent. I'll provoke.
Probable cause for what? What's a PC?
The curfew, sir.
I think it's just a cop hater, bro.
A what? I'm a what?
I'm not talking to you, sir.
I'm a what?
Where do you work, buddy?
They don't want to answer that.
Where do you work?
We're gonna get your name somehow, bro. Just comply and it'll go a lot better for you.
Comply, just bend over, right?
Hello, and welcome back to Legal Dissent, where we evaluate your constitutional rights before they're taken away. Thank you so much for joining us. And as always, if you enjoy our content, please do consider subscribing and interacting with us in the comments below. It really does help the channel out a lot. Today, we evaluate a video that was posted just a few days ago and submitted by a subscriber via email. If you have a video that you would like us to evaluate, please send it our way via email, Facebook, or Twitter. Our contact information is located in the description below. Also in the description, you can find links to the original video, channel, case law, statutes, and any other sources we use in our videos. Corners News was driving in Laredo, Texas when he began to feel his blood sugar level was low. He stopped at a store to get a snack and then parked in a parking lot to eat the food and resumed driving once he felt better. He was then approached by police while he was finishing his snack inside of the car. All of the captions are provided by Corners News on the original video.
Hello, sir.
Hello, sir.
Is there a reason why you're in here?
Ya, me paré a comer unos de estos.
Where are you coming from?
¿Ah?
Where are you coming from?
¿Cómo para qué o qué?
Huh?
¿Cómo para qué?
¿Cómo que para qué?
Ajá.
You're in a private parking lot after hours, sir. Curfew is at
¿Mande?
6 p.m.
¿Cómo
Curfew
es?
is at 6 p.m.
Ajá.
You're operating a vehicle past 6 p.m. You're in violation of curfew.
In February of this year, the Laredo, Texas City Council enacted a citywide curfew in an attempt to curb the spread of coronavirus. Curfews on adults, by definition, restrict the freedom of movement, which is a fundamental constitutional right. As the Supreme Court held in Papa Christou versus City of Jacksonville, the right to walk the streets or to meet publicly with one's friends for a noble purpose or for no purpose at all, and to do so whenever one pleases, is an integral component of life in a free and ordered society. Therefore, curfews must be able to satisfy a strict scrutiny analysis that requires that the curfew must be supported by a compelling state interest that is narrowly tailored to serve the curfew's objective. There is precedence allowing states and local municipalities the authority to quarantine and prevent travel in emergency situations, such as in Zimmel versus Rusk, where the Supreme Court held that the right to travel within the United States is, of course, also constitutionally protected, but that freedom does not mean that areas ravaged by flood, fire, or pestilence cannot be quarantined when it can be demonstrated that unlimited travel to the area would directly and materially interfere with the safety and welfare of the area or the nation as a whole. The Laredo City curfew mandated a 6 p.m. to 6 a.m. curfew on home social gatherings and required restaurants to keep a contact log of all of their patrons. We could argue the constitutionality of this curfew, but it's rather irrelevant to the case at hand, as Corners News was not at a restaurant and was not at a home social gathering. He was by himself in the car eating a snack. The purpose of the curfew was to curtail large gatherings and prevent the spread of COVID, not to stop people from sitting in an empty parking lot eating a snack, which does not pose any significant threat of spreading COVID. Therefore, using the curfew as a precursor to justify the engagement is not correct, and this appears to be an illegal detainment.
That's why I'm asking you, what are you doing here?
Me paré a comer.
Okay, where are you coming from?
De donde vengo, no importa donde venga.
Okay, so you want to make this complicated? We can make this complicated. Step out of your vehicle, sir.
No.
Step out of your vehicle.
¿Pero qué estás haciendo?
Sir, step out of your vehicle. Step out of your vehicle.
¿Qué?
Just get out, sir. No, to make it difficult.
Pero ustedes lo están haciendo difícil.
No, I'm asking you a question and you're
No te
saying...
tengo que contestar nada, vato.
Yeah, you're detained.
No,
Yeah,
¿por
you're
qué?
detained.
¿Por qué?
Porque te estoy diciendo, you're detained. Put your hands on the vehicle. Put your hands on the vehicle, sir. You have a weapon on you? Charles Winston, 38, inside the Blue Moon parking lot.
That's the cop later, bro.
Okay.
That's how he's doing this.
You have a wallet on you, sir?
No.
What's your name, sir? Sir, your first name?
No estoy haciendo nada mal, no tuve nada.
Okay, you need to identify yourself at this point.
Why?
If not, you're
There's a
gonna be
citywide,
placed under
okay,
arrest.
first of all, there's a citywide curfew. Okay, if you're not giving me a reason to be out here,
I don't,
you're in violation. So I need your
okay,
license.
I plead the
We'll
fifth.
cite you and you'll be on your way.
I plead the Fifth
You can
Amendment.
plead the fifth all you want.
Okay.
Just we need your license.
Okay.
We need your license. That's all.
You don't.
Okay,
Sorry?
sir.
You don't.
Okay, sir.
I don't
then
what?
put your hands behind your back. You can hear your phone recording. Put your hands behind your back. Put your hands behind your back.
Why I have to make this difficult, man?
You're making it difficult, not me.
Why are we?
Okay.
You're over here speeding, man.
Speeding?
We're not looking. We're not going out there looking for you. We're
Speeding?
you.
Do you have any more weapons on you, sir?
Yes, I have plenty.
So this is where I get really confused by the officers. They first claimed that he was being detained and identified for violating the curfew, which, like I stated earlier, is not a legal detainment because the curfew would not apply to individuals exercising their right to travel and enjoy a snack in a parking lot. But now they are claiming he was stopped for speeding, which obviously would change the game and make this a legal stop if the driver was indeed speeding. However, the discrepancies in the officer's approach and stories makes me doubt them and believe that the individual was correct in the car. If he was stopped for speeding, the officer should have led with that and not the bogus curfew explanation. Now we get to the weapons issue. The driver was charged with the unlawful carrying of a weapon, which means he was carrying a handgun in plain view without a license. At this point, they had already found a weapon, as they asked, "Do you have any more weapons on you?" His response was, "Yes, plenty." This is a friendly reminder to never answer questions like this. Silence is your best friend. If this were a legal stop, he would have just granted them probable cause to search the car for the plenty of weapons still to be found.
I don't give you consent. I don't give you consent to go in my car.
Sir.
I'm not giving you consent to go in my car.
Okay, I don't need consent, sir. That's probable cause.
Probable cause for what? What's a PC?
The curfew, sir.
That's not PC.
Go.
Talk, hey,
Turn around.
talk to your sergeant. Talk to him.
Está bueno. We'll call the sergeant.
You don't need. That's curfew's not PC.
Take a seat. We're gonna tow your vehicle, sir. You're under arrest, so it is inventory search, all right?
I'm under arrest.
Yes, sir.
For what?
He was playing to you in a bit.
For what?
He was playing to you in a bit. Take a seat.
What am I under
Take a
arrest?
seat. He'll talk to you in a bit.
I need double cuffs.
No, you don't.
I don't. My shoulders killing me.
Take a seat. I'll get you double cuffs. Take a seat.
I'm asking for double
I know.
cuffs
Take a seat,
before I
and
go
I'll
in.
get you double cuffs. Not a problem. Just take a seat. Take a seat. Are you gonna identify yourself or not?
I need to identify.
Yes, sir. You do.
3802.
302 what?
Penal code 3802.
What about it?
Ow!
What about it?
3802. Look it up.
What about 302?
It is painfully obvious that the officers are not sure yet what they are going to be charging him with. A curfew violation should be resolved with a simple, "Hey man, keep it moving and go home," as opposed to an arrest. We have discussed Texas Statute 38.02, which requires individuals to identify to police only when they have been lawfully arrested. While the police have placed the driver under arrest, the argument would now revolve around the term lawfully, as I have not witnessed anything yet that would allow them to lawfully arrest him, in my opinion. The driver is then placed into the squad car and officers begin searching his vehicle. Another word of advice: do not leave weapons in plain view for people to see them, and if you do leave them in plain view, do not create captions on a video and upload to YouTube stating that you left a weapon in plain view for officers to find.
There is a curfew in place.
I know you know I'm diabetic and I stopped to eat, right?
I had no idea. You should have told us that.
I don't need to speak to you.
So if you would have told us that, like a regular human person said, "Hey, I'm diabetic. I need to eat. I'm going to put gas. I'm going to Whataburger. I'm hungry." That's different.
You
So
can
don't
see
wanna
my
say-
drink and the snacks I bought.
I don't know, sir. I don't know that.
You're looking at it inside my
I
car.
haven't looked at anything inside your car.
The very first thing he said was that he stopped to eat a snack. If all it took to avoid the situation was for him to say, hey, I'm eating a snack because I'm diabetic, then they need to do a better job of investigating and not jumping to conclusions to arrest people for absolutely nothing.
I think he's just a cop hater, bro.
A what? I'm a what?
I'm not talking to you, sir.
I'm a what?
Where do you work, buddy? They don't want to answer that. Where do you work?
We're gonna get your name somehow, bro. Just comply and it'll go a lot better for you.
Comply, just bend over, right? Just bend over. It's so easy.
Man. What's wrong
So
with
easy,
you?
right?
What are you talking about, bro?
Oh, why you so upset? You came to us. We don't
I didn't come. When did I approach you?
Part right there. You're driving very fast, man. What do you want us to do? Ignore you?
Am I driving fast?
You were driving fast.
How was I driving fast?
So you drove fast in here. And look how you parked. So we thought something was wrong.
My sugar level was low,
Well,
so
you should have told us that.
I don't need to tell you
Well, then
anything.
this is
Are you a
what
doctor or
happened.
what?
Bro,
This is
we're
what
doing-
happened.
We're doing our job. We're just to make sure that you don't get hurt, that we don't get hurt. That's it.
How are you getting hurt? How are you gonna get
We're
hurt?
making sure of that. That's
We
what
have
you
weapons in
said.
the vehicle. We're making sure.
And you have
we don't
weapons
know your
too.
intention. Bro,
Just
like being cool,
Huh?
just give us your name, your date of birth. That's it. We're gonna find it regardless. We're gonna be. That's a charge within itself, bro.
The what?
That's a charge within itself.
What?
Failure to ID.
That's a secondary charge. Huh?
Yeah, and they got you for the stop. They got you for the stop. We just want your
What's
name.
up? This is private property.
Buddy, look, help us out. I don't want you to go to jail, right?
We're being cool.
So just give us your name so we can clear your name. We clear the guns and you're good to go.
You leave with a citation, not in jail.
But why would I get a citation?
The thing
Why?
is, look, you have to understand what our probable cause is for stopping you, okay?
Curfew is not PC.
You were driving recklessly.
The officer saw you drive in a manner that caused him to get your attention, okay? You got attention to yourself. Look at the hour, look at where you're at, a random parking lot. It doesn't look like your sugar's down. If your sugar's down, you'd be stressing out, you'd be having other symptoms.
Are you diabetic?
Are you? What symptoms would you have if you were diabetic? Explain to me.
1. If the driver did indeed drive recklessly in front of the officers to draw attention to himself, then he is an idiot. 2. If he did indeed drive recklessly in front of the officers, then why did the officers approach him all aggro about the curfew? And 3. If he did drive quickly to get to the parking lot, that would seem to be consistent with a diabetic feeling a diabetic attack coming on and wanting to get to a safe place to address the situation. Diabetic attacks or insulin shock is typically due to hypoglycemia or low blood sugar. Signs of severe hypoglycemia, according to WebMD, can be confusion, blurred vision, seizures, and passing out. Obviously, the first two symptoms are symptoms that are not externally exhibited and would not be easily diagnosed by an observer like the officer or ourselves.
Yeah, just so we can get the process going.
Yeah.
You know what I mean, man?
We don't want to listen. I get it. You're diabetic. You came in here for your reasons, and I understand you want to invoke your rights. I get it. I hear you. Okay. The thing is, for us, Sir Saul, it seems suspicious activity to him. Okay. You're in an abandoned parking lot. We don't know who you are. You're driving quickly while there's officers here.
Yeah.
So they're curious. They want to know what's going on. It's suspicious to them. Okay. Based on Texas law, we're allowed to investigate suspicious activity.
Yeah, you are. But
Okay.
not to ID me.
Okay. The reason we want to ID you is it's really suspicious that you're driving around with a bunch of guns at this hour. Okay.
Is it illegal?
It's not illegal. It's not illegal. But in the manner that you drove in,
Okay.
it caused attention. Okay. You have to understand.
All right.
That's where we're at right now. You got our attention. You did something, that seems suspicious in a suspicious manner. So we got to investigate. That's our job.
Okay.
Look, I'm not trying to bother you. We don't want to bother you. We don't want to make your light any longer. We want to get you checked out by ambulance. Make sure you're good to go. Those guns are yours. You take off, and that's it. All right. All I'm asking for is a little bit of help with IDing yourself.
Okay.
Would you mind doing that?
ID?
Just your name and date of birth. That's it. That's all we want to know. I don't need to know your address. I don't need your phone number. Nothing. I just want to know your name and date of birth, so we can clear you, and then we can clear the guns, and you're good to go. You'll be on your way.
Okay.
That's all we're asking.
So am I under arrest or?
You're not under arrest.
Okay.
No. He is under arrest.
You under arrest?
Yes, he is under arrest.
Okay.
Okay.
He's under arrest. Yes.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Thanks, son.
I'm sorry, I don't know.
Your traffic?
Information. I'm the case officer. He is being placed under arrest.
What's the 95 for?
We'll failure to ID first for the 38,
Okay.
and then unlawful carrying of firearm.
Okay.
All firearms are going to be unlawful carrying of firearm.
Unlawful?
Yes, sir.
Why unlawful?
I'm not talking to you, sir. You can place him back in my unit if he needs to get checked out by your.
This officer described the suspicious activity. none of which was illegal, and none of it would mandate that he had to identify to the officers. The officer who insisted that he was under arrest mentioned first that he was under arrest for failure to identify. This cannot be the first crime, as you are not required to identify unless you are being lawfully arrested in the state of Texas. To have probable cause for unlawful carrying of firearms, the officer must have more information to determine that he was not in legal possession of the firearms, which he could not have because they still have not identified the driver. Therefore, those guns could still be legally possessed by the driver. Notice again, no mention of the curfew or speeding at this point.
I was carrying a BB gun holstered on me.
Yeah.
All the handguns were concealed. All of them.
You carry a skeleton. It's not gonna protect you.
It won't. But
you have a concealed handgun license?
No, I don't. I don't need one. So if he's planning on charging me with that's gonna be an illegal charge.
Well, we're going to charge you for the curfew violation regardless.
Okay.
Now it is flipped back to the curfew as the reason for the stop. Again, a curfew must be narrowly tailored to serve a compelling government interest. The curfew here was put into place to prevent the spread of COVID. Arresting an individual for eating a snack, alone, in a car, in an empty parking lot, does not serve the government interest of protecting the public from the spread of COVID. Therefore, in my opinion, anything that resulted from this stop is fruit of the poisonous tree and inadmissible in court. He was arrested and charged with unlawful carrying of a weapon, violation of the curfew, and failure to identify. He filed a complaint against the police department on June 21st and will be watching for updates from his channel. We cut a lot out of this video, so make sure to watch all of it on Corners News channel. You'll find a link in the description below, and let them know that Legal Dissent sent you. What do you think? Is a curfew a valid reason to stop someone and compel them to identify? Was the curfew's purpose of preventing the spread of COVID being served by this stop and arrest? Let us know in the comments below, and we'll see you next time right here on Legal Dissent.